Okay, hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk about changing spark plugs on a Kawasaki Ultra 300 or 310. This is how I do it. According to the Kawasaki maintenance manual, they say to take out your plugs every 24 or every 25 hours. Check them, clean them, re-gap them. At 25 hours in a high-performance engine like this, I personally would just take them out and change them. I wouldn't bother gapping them. And first thing, let's go look at a plug after 15 hours, and you'll see why. I wouldn't exceed 25 hours, but that's up to you. So let's see if we can get a good shot of one. This is after, maybe I'll shut this light off. Maybe we can zoom in. See, I have my light on. If you look carefully, that last thread, let's see if I can get a good shot for you. You see the rust on this plug. This is about 15 hours, and the last thread is starting to rust. So there's no copper coat on this, also known as anti-seize, but we'll get into that. But this is after 15 hours, so there's a critical potential problem here. This last thread, where I have my finger, see if I can get it zoomed a bit better for you. The last couple threads are actually inside the combustion chamber. The last thread is for sure, and it's rusting. And what happens is moisture comes up through the exhaust filter. This exhaust filter is here to, it's in the exhaust system to help prevent moisture from coming back up. This is the exhaust filter. It's in the exhaust system at the manifold to help prevent moisture going back up into the top of the engine and rusting your valves and your spark plugs. And so this is where your exhaust filter sits. So in theory, it does help. I'm sure if you took it right out, you'd have major problems. So when you shut off this ski, moisture, a little bit of moisture travels up into your head. It rusts like you just saw those threads, how they're a little bit rusted. I didn't know at the time to put on copper coat. That's only 15 hours, fresh water. I air this thing all out, but you saw the threads are already starting to rust. And what happens is that moisture rusts the threads, the bottom thread or two on that spark plug, and when you go to take out your spark plug, it can get stuck, and it could turn into a disaster. That's a whole different topic, but anyways, we use copper coat. Anyways, let's go through this. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So first thing I do is I always put blankets, get some blankets. I don't want to scratch my ski. I'm doing routine maintenance. Say I'm up to 25 hours, the ski's still running good. I never take spark plugs. They're a metal thread. This is an aluminum head. I never take them out of a hot engine. I wait till it cools. That's a personal choice. Lots of guys will take them out of a hot head. I won't. It's aluminum, and there's always a minor potential for some aluminum to come out with the threads, but that's theoretical. I haven't seen it before in all the cars and boats and stuff, other toys I've had, but it could happen. So I just make sure it's a cool engine. And obviously I take off all the spark plug leads here. I grab them firmly. I jiggle as I pull up. I jiggle very lightly. Just try to do a straight pull up. Slowly, steady. This will come out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lay them off to the side. And then what I do is, in case there's any garbage down there, Obviously, I spray each one with air. Any garbage comes out. If you don't have a compressor, you could use a vacuum. Obviously, put your end on or reverse your vacuum to blow air in. How I do it is I blow it out with air. Then I vacuum as well. I just stick the top of the vacuum here, obviously, and just in case. So anyways, I get those off. I use the Kawasaki supplied spark plug wrench. It's got a rubber insulator in there so you don't crack your plug. It's quite robust. It works well. It takes I believe, on this end, 11/16, or in metric, it will take a 17 millimeter. So this goes on here. Obviously, put this down on your plug. Put it in straight. Make sure it's on the plug. It's firm. Grab it with both hands. Make sure you're right on. Okay. Obviously. Undo. Put this on. Your ratchet. Undo your plug. If it's sticking in there, you're going to have to use some penetrating oil and work the plug back and forth with your wrench. Obviously, your socket. You just spray down penetrating oil and work it. It should come out. If it's stuck, don't force it. Take your time. Maybe let the penetrating oil sit for a few hours. There's a whole bunch of brands out there. There's even some guys use acetone and ATF mixed up. Look that up on the internet. And some guys say that works. So anyways, get all 4 plugs out. We'll take my cart over here and we'll go over to my bench. And check the gap on your new plugs. I believe they should be 24 thou to 28. See, I've got it marked in my book. So 24 to 28. I don't know, I looked at it earlier. I could get some good readings for you. Yeah, that won't work. So anyways, it's 24 to 28. I use a feeler gauge wherever I put it. I had it here a minute ago. There we are. Before I used it, I cleaned it with alcohol in case there's any residue on it because I'm sticking it in the electrode. And I've already checked these new ones I have, and they're sitting at 27 thou. So they're fine. So then, now we were talking about earlier about the potential to have a plug seized in the head and rusting threads that we talked about. So Corey in Australia sent me up this copper coat anti-seize. This is a copper-based product, obviously, and I know Sea-Doo uses a aluminum-based product. I would probably use the aluminum-based. Guys have been using this copper-based for years, no problems, but if I could get my hands on some of the aluminum-based, I would get that. So this is what the product actually looks like. So you'll apply anti-seize to all your plug threads because you don't want to have a potential rusted plug in that head. Look at that, 15 hours freshwater use. I dry out the water box, burp it lots, and yeah, that's how it ended up. So anyways, I put an old plug in the vise. You will not do this because I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. So what I do is I take just a smidgen of copper coat, very light. That's how much, right? I put it on and I work it all the way around. And I don't want to get any in the electrode, obviously. And I work it all the way around. Very light. Very, very light. But I definitely want to get these bottom threads. And that might even be too much. You know, I'm very light on it. So let's see, we'll turn this light off. And I'll use the phone light and see if I can get a good shot for you. So very light. You see, not too heavy. I don't put any on the sealing ring, the crush gasket, whatever you want to call it. I don't put the copper coat. I just focus on the threads, and I make sure I'm right on this bottom thread. And like I say, I work it around. If I think I've got too much, I'll wipe it off on my fingers and wipe some off. Just very light. I don't want to get any on the electrode. If I feel I've gotten it down there, I'll clean this a little bit around there because I don't want any on the electrode. Anyways, you copper coat all 4 plugs. You've already checked the gaps, and they're probably fine. I use this style of, it's a graduated one. Let's see if we can get a shot there. It's graduated. Goes thicker as you go. I really like this. It's by Champion, and I've had it for years, and it works very well. So now, putting the plugs in. You put them all in hand tight. Obviously, use your plug wrench, do them all up. Just hand tight. Just do, not real snug, just hand tight. And then, I've been using a torque wrench. According to Kawasaki, it's 13 Newton meters. According to the box and some of the other guys, a half a turn is ideal. And let's see if and it says right on, these are laser platinum. These are the NGK plugs. There we are. PMR 9B 4717. And a half a turn will do it. So let's talk about a half a turn. So you've already done up the plugs hand tight with your plug wrench and your extension. And when I say a half a turn, because I've torqued them and I've noted when I use my torque wrench, this is a half a turn, right? Let's just bring it up. Let's say we start right there. Not quite. Let's do that again. I think I can do a better job for you than that. So there's 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That's a half a turn. You could go just a little more if you want. Now, I've done it with a torque wrench to 13 Newton meters, and this is about how far it goes according to the actual specs. I turn it, I get to 6 o'clock, from 12 o'clock, I'm at my half a turn, and I end up about here. So, it's probably, in reality, you could go a half and a bit more, but I'm sure half you'd be quite safe. And it's marked right on the box, right on the back of that box, half a turn for a new plug. Now, if you've taken the plug out and you're putting them back in, there's 2 schools of thought. NGK states a 16th of a turn. This is a used plug. You're putting it back in. You've already compressed this crush ring. This is your crush ring here. Gasket, sealer, whatever. They're saying, on the back of the box, I'll tell you what it says, a 16th. And if I remember correctly, the actual specs on NGK for that plug, well, let's look it up. I think it's a 12th. Yeah, reused plug, 10 millimeter, 10 or 12 millimeter. I don't know if we can zoom in for you. I'm having trouble. Anyways, I can tell you what it says. It says a 12th of a turn. So you could go a 12th or a 16th. I wouldn't go, if a 16th feels tight, I'd stop there. You don't want to overdo it. So anyways, you torque them in. You can either do it with a torque wrench, 13 Newton meters, or you can use it just by hand, half a turn, maybe just, like I say, a smidgen more. But do it slow and steady. Slow, that's how I do it, about like that. No jerky movements, nothing like that. You might break something. Same as a torque wrench. Always use it very slow, especially a torque wrench. Slow and steady, and I pull near the end. Very slow and steady. No jerky movements. So anyways, you've torqued in the plugs. You've copper coated them. Very light on the copper coat, but make sure you get those last couple threads, and your plugs are in. Put on your leads slowly, straight down. Make sure they're good and snug. They're down all the way. Something else I didn't like, well, it's one thing I didn't like. This wire here used to lay right on this bolt here. And I don't like that. I'm an old car guy, and now, according to our friend Corey, he says it'll never arc across here, and I'm sure he's right. But this used to lay right here, and I didn't like it. So I brought the tab up here, and I put some tape on it. And you see, I just don't like wires laying on a motor. And One last thing,